One day, a young man came to a priest with a question that had been troubling his mind. "Father," he said, "I have heard people say that God is all-powerful. But if God is truly all-powerful, can he create a stone so heavy that even he cannot lift it?" The priest looked at the young man and smiled gently. Instead of answering immediately, he invited him to walk outside the church. In the courtyard, there was a large stone lying beside the path. The priest pointed to it and asked, "Tell me, do you think this stone could lift itself?" The young man shook his head. "Of course not," he replied. "That would be impossible." The priest nodded. "You are right. It is impossible because it is a contradiction. A thing cannot be both the one lifting and the thing being lifted at the same time." Then the priest turned back to the young man and said, "God is truly all-powerful, but God's power does not mean doing things that are meaningless or self-contradictory. God cannot lie. God cannot do evil. And God does not create logical impossibilities." The young man listened carefully. The priest continued, "Asking whether God can create a stone so heavy that he cannot lift it is like asking whether God can create a square circle or a man who is alive and dead at the same time. These are not difficult tasks for God. They simply do not make sense." The priest then looked up toward the sky. God's power is not a puzzle or a trick of logic. His power is revealed in creation, in the mountains, the oceans, the stars, and in the gift of life itself. After a moment of silence, the priest spoke again, more softly. "But the greatest display of God's power is not in lifting stones or moving mountains," the young man asked quietly. "Then what is it?" "Father," the priest pointed toward the cross on top of the church. "The greatest display of God's power is his love," he continued. "The all-powerful God chose to become humble and weak for our sake in Jesus Christ. He entered our world, suffered, and died on the cross to save humanity." The young man lifted his eyes and looked at the cross above the church, and in that moment, he began to understand. The greatest power of God is not the power to lift an impossible stone, but the power to love humanity to the very end.